Welcome to the TIMFD podcast. Today is my favorite day is about appreciating every day as it comes, no matter what life throws at us. We hope this podcast speaks to you, and if it does, please like, share, and comment. Now let's find out why today is our favorite day this week.
Well, welcome back to Today is My Favorite Day. Here we go. I am Sam McKeown. I'm here with David Towner and Dr. Michael Sosa,
Howdy.
Who would prefer to be called Michael, by the way, if you ever go to his office. And our question today, gentlemen, is how can chiropractic help reduce our stress?
I have no idea, so we're going to go to the expert
Go
here.
to the expert.
First of all, how long have you been in the chiropractic world? We're not going to go by age, we'll go by wisdom.
So I've been a chiropractor now for 32 years.
32.
And
So
yes,
you were
I
10 when you started?
Yeah, all right.
Okay. He was.
And no, I love this. I have to thank God. I really love this profession. And first of all, Pastor Dave, Pastor Sam, I want to thank you guys because what you do is so incredibly important. I know that you guys are not just bringing people closer to God, but you're actually helping transform them so they have a better relationship.
Well, and that's the hope here. Here's why we wanted you on.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I wanted you on. I went through cancer about 11 years ago. He came to me and actually said, I think it was Dr. Serrano, right? And they said, hey, we want to help you. We want to get you into a better place. And for me, at chiropractic, I was going, I don't want any part of that. But what I found out, especially with all the stuff I had cut out of me, 22 inches of my intestines, what they were doing was helping me to get into a better place mentally and physically and emotionally. When we went through the death of our daughter, and you know this, his team literally prayed over me at his work. And I still never forget that. It was because I was sobbing. And what happened is I was really tense, and he came up and put his hands and started working on me. I started crying immediately because what it did is it just relaxed, right? And
you're exactly right. So one of the things that you say, and I was blessed to go to a great school, 32 years ago, actually more than, because in my first semester at school, one of the chiropractors that was my mentor actually came and spoke to our class. And he literally, looking at our whole class, said, for the next 3.5 years, and I think I've told you this before, you will hear the word God a lot.
Yeah, there you go.
If you have a problem with it, get over it. Because you literally, he's like, get over it, because you cannot separate God from healing and from function.
Yeah.
So we were blessed that at our school, we learned things at a really different perspective.
Well, and the Creator producing these bodies, I mean, you got to see it firsthand. You got to you get to see everything. It's miraculous.
Oh, no, it is.
Right?
It is.
Just to look at the body.
The body, and that's why, like, even the question that you guys ask now, there's so many times that I have to separate, because sometimes I can even fall into that category where you start learning, because we learn about the limbic system. So when you get technical, or when you get science, right, the limbic system is the part of the brain that, as you know, when stress comes in, that's the system that turns on what they call the sympathetic.
Okay.
So many people hear that, right? The parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The sympathetic is what's going to, allow that cortisol and a lot of different things. It's going to stop your digestion. It's because that's what they call the fight or flight.
Okay.
Right. And then you have, of course, the parasympathetic. But sometimes people simplify too much, because it's not just about you're in one system or you're in another system. What you said was beautiful, right? God made this body so much more incredible than we can ever even imagine. That's why I don't like, sometimes when they have science, they use science to explain their theory or a theory. It's the opposite. What science is supposed to do is observe. When you observe, then you realize what's happening. That's why, so some of the things I'm going to talk about, when I go to different things, that's what I like to talk about, is I like to talk about what they observe. So for example, what I was just saying, right? The limbic system, when they do a brain scan, they know that when stress comes into the body, the limbic system turns on.
Yeah.
But one of the things they notice, what's key, is what they call integration. So you guys may have heard this before.
Okay.
So the prefrontal cortex is what controls a lot of our decision making. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say I'm driving my car, and my wife says, speed up, get in the right lane, right? You're driving like my grandmother, right? We're gonna be exiting here in about half a mile, right?
That's what my wife does.
Exactly. Right? No, I think it's just my wife, right? Forgive me, sweetheart. Forgive me. So what comes out of my mouth, right? And Jesus talks about it. It's about what comes out of my mouth next is going to determine whether I'm sleeping in bed or on the couch, right? So if my body is stressed and I just react, right? That's where you're using the sympathetic. That's what the sympathetic is doing. It's reacting. When you're using that frontal cortex, you're making a decision, an informed decision. So I can either react, or I can say, sweetheart, I love your input. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sleeping in bed that night,
Yes.
right? So people, when they think of that, a bear, if a bear's coming, there's a lot of things you can do. It's not just about reacting, it's making the right decisions.
Correct.
So I know I get excited about anything that has to do with the body, so I talk fast, I talk a lot.
No, it's good. It's okay.
But when we were just saying now, right, when that limbic system comes in because there's a stress, now what they've noticed, and they've noticed this just from observing. So when they do these brain scans, they know that the people that have good connection between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex, when they call that integration, they make wise decisions and their body's stress is down. When they're just reacting,
It's not good.
and we've all seen that, right? How many times do we just react?
Absolutely.
We're not making smart decisions. We're like, did I really just do that? It's because all we're doing is reacting. And that's when, like you said, that's when our sympathetic is kicking in.
Right.
So when it comes to chiropractic, you guys said it at the beginning, I don't heal you, right? If a person says, hey, doc, you cured me of my sciatica, we're like, no. I did not cure you, right? The power that made the body heals the body. God does everything. God does all the healing.
Yeah.
If your sciatica got better, all we did is we removed the interference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the, so if
makes
there's
sense.
if it's either the disc or the nerve that's getting pinched, that's interference. So what we want to do is by helping relax the body, by helping remove that interference, now there's better connection the way God decided.
Yeah.
So you can't say it any better, just like you. I don't do any healing, but if anything helps your stress, your nervous system to have more ease, your body's going to function
And that was
better.
the amazing part for me when I came in after Rebecca had passed away, and I came in and said, man, I'm just got this headache. I got this stuff going on. And you just said, come on in. So when I came in, and you just told me just to lay down, lay face down. Why did you just have me do that just to sit there for a while? You had me sit there for a while, and it actually kind of mellowed me out. So what's the reasoning behind that?
So, and again, even when you start thinking of position of your body, when your body's in that laying down position, that's when we're thinking like at night. You know how they kind of call muscle memory?
Yes.
When we're sleeping at night and we're laying down, your body goes into that rest mode.
Okay.
And when our body goes into that rest mode, sometimes, so now I'm going to go, you'll know this, and you already know this about me. I go off on all these different, that's one of the things that I love is, so for example, brainwaves, that's one of the things that they study, for example, when we pray, we're using our alpha brainwaves, right? When we are making these critical decisions, we're using beta or gamma. When we're sleeping, we're using delta. That calms our body down.
Makes sense.
So it's not about here. I want you to get in delta. I've noticed that when people can lay down and relax, their body just gets into that sense of getting more into a relaxed state. So that's why I didn't want to just put my hands on you. I was like, I can't even imagine all the things that you were going through. Tough. I don't even want to, and I'm like, the amount of stress.
You have your girls. Yeah, I get that.
Oh yeah. With the 3 daughters and 3 granddaughters, I'm like, you're a better man than me. So that's why I wanted you to lay down and just relax there.
Yeah, and when I laid down, I was able to kind of mellow out. You had some Christian music playing too, so I knew the songs. I was kind of singing them in my head. And then when you put your hands on my shoulders and just kind of worked a little bit, I just started crying. And why would that be the case if we even know, why would that be the case of that happening at that time?
That is a beautiful, so this is kind of where I was talking. Remember I was saying the science, I like to do what we call where you're just observing science. So this is something that they've observed so many times. So getting back to what I talked about, integration. So they did studies where they noticed that up to even 85% when people are getting chiropractic adjustments, they actually is improved of that integration between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. So if you're thinking logically, you're thinking, how does that work? I have no idea. If someone says, how does that work? I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea, because when we're adjusting the spine, now it's true, the atlas, we're touching the vagus nerve, right? So you are around the brainstem, but I'm not touching the brain.
Right.
So how does that work? I have no idea.
Yeah, because those 2 little bones on the very top.
So has it been proven? So yes, when there's less stress on that vagus nerve, when there's less stress on the brainstem, yes, the body calms down. But that's where, when people truly ask exactly what's happening, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea.
Yeah, you said that. I have no idea. This is how God does things.
We know, because you're right. God, exactly. God
does this.
You always point them to the charts that you have and say, see all those charts up there with all these, everything. God did that. You figure out.
Exactly.
He'll tell you how
this
and
you've
works.
Gone to chiropractic work. So tell me about why you have done that.
So years ago, I had an accident. I was stuck in what was called a circ water tunnel, 84 inch tunnel.
Keep going. I'll work on his mic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That I wrenched my back going down. Couldn't get out. They were getting ready to start up the power plant and run a ton of water through it.
Okay.
They had to come and pull me out. Took me into town in an ambulance. Then the guy says, we're going into emergency surgery. I said, no, we're not. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And so that was a few years ago. And
Just a few.
Just a few. And the back surgeries then were, they were hack jobs.
They were horrible.
Pure and simple, right?
Yeah.
And so...
What, 1990s, 1980s?
80s.
80s, yeah, you didn't want to have that in the 80s.
I walked from the hospital to a friend of mine who was a chiropractor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was painful. But that's what it started. But I found that over the years, I have lower back issues.
Okay.
That's where that all started. I found over the years, if I step away from the chiropractic and don't get regular adjustments, that everything goes out of whack.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I keep doing that with him. He keeps on getting on me because I don't want to take his time.
Yep.
And then I get a headache and they go, why did you come every week? And I'm going, I get it. I need to do that. And there's a reason. Why? What's the reason behind that?
Well, really, when you think about it, just like anything, right? When do you want to stop having your muscles get healthy? Should you only work out for a week or should you keep working out?
Yeah, keep
right?
working out.
Same thing, eat nutrition, right? When it comes to nutrition, you keep eating right. Now, that's one of the things I was even kind of talking earlier. When it comes to stress, it's different because nutrition, you can read ingredients and you can choose what you're going to put into your body.
Right.
But we cannot always choose stressors in our life. Right?
No.
So that's why sometimes you can't necessarily change your environment, but if you can help make the body stronger, then hopefully you can adapt and you can accept that stress a little bit more. So that's one of the reasons why regular chiropractic care, and when it comes to that, and it's not, of course, the only thing, as you know, working out.
Lots of other things.
We're talking to people that know a lot about exercise, about nutrition. So that's why to us, it's just maintenance. If you can maintain that brain-body connection, the power that God put in our body is going to function better. And that's one of the reasons why people feel like they do so much better with anxiety and stress. Right?
Well, and so for you, we're going to probably have you come a different time due to nutrition, do all that kind of stuff. There's so many other things we could talk about, and we know that. But right now, what I'd like to do is, with you as a chiropractic doctor, how do you deal with the stress? Because you're a business owner. So here's a business owner, guys. So anyone who's a business owner is going to watch this. You understand the stress, and you understand it, and you understand it. We all understand when you're leading an organization, there's an extra stress there. Yeah. So hiring, having to fire if you have to, hopefully not, but you have to do that. Finances, buildings, all that stuff. All the bills that are involved with that, right? And insurance and all that kind of stuff. So for you, what do you do to protect you in all of that going on? So let's kind of just go quickly through that, what you do to try to protect yourself.
Okay. So first and foremost, you can't do what I do because I married this amazing woman called Jeanette.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
she's like Tanya here. She does the same thing for me. So.
That's one of the things that I've been blessed about is that she worries more about the office, the procedures,
she's good
right?
at it
And so does Michelle at the office and all the ladies that we have at the office. They worry more about the office. So this way I can just draw x-rays and worry about the patients. Yeah. So I'm really blessed in that I don't have to worry as much for the business, but really one of the biggest things, there are so many different things that you can do. So you can't always change your environment, but there's a lot of things that you can do about it. So that's one of the first and foremost is there's breathing exercises. So when we do things, even though that's not chiropractic, remember chiropractic is only one piece of the puzzle. So when we do workshops in the office, I'm going to say, hey, whether you may like it or you may not like it, I would breathing exercises. First and foremost, and is where we are, praying. Remember what I was just telling you. I mean, I'm talking to not just the choir. I'm constantly learning from you guys. When it comes to prayer, when it comes to having a better relationship with Jesus Christ, that hands down, in my opinion, is what's going to. I mean, they've already seen it. They've already seen brain scans, and not to get into the science, but when people are praying, the waves
changes everything.
Their whole body changes. So not just the wavelengths in their body, but their whole physiology changes. So how can it not? And that's why we say all we're doing is making sure that there's a better connection, brain body. But really, God does everything. He does all the healing.
So getting the right people around you, that's one.
Yep.
Then second is making sure you are able to slow yourself down. The breathing exercises. When you brought up the breathing exercises to me, I knew those exercises because in college, in track and field, this is what we are taught to do, to slow our heart rate down, slow our bodies down, slow our minds down early in the morning to get ourselves in a good place. And I still do that. I do this all the time, but in my office, people will find me on the ground, leaning against the wall. And if I'm doing breathing exercises, it's because of one thing. What I'm doing, I have one verse that I put in my head, and I do those breathing exercises. Right. 10 in, 10 hold, 10 out. And that's what I do. I don't know what you do.
No, absolutely. Okay. There's so many different, that is a great breathing exercises. Okay. One of the other things, and I'm going to kind of go off script here, is when it comes to nutrition, I'm not going to go into that, but one of the biggest things that when a person's under a lot of stress, one of the first things I'll tell them is, besides, yes, we're going to do an adjustment, try to help de-stress your nervous system, increase your fat for the next 3 days. And people forget that.
People go, yay.
Yes, increase your fat. Your brain is made of fat, and they don't realize that if your body is not consuming enough fat, you're stressing your brain.
Isn't that wild?
It is. It's crazy.
And so, hey, we have permission.
We have permission. We do.
Increase your fat.
One of the other things about your office, well, actually the chiropractors I've been to, and that's education. And you have a really good staff, and when you have a question, if Kathy doesn't know the answer, Michelle knows the answer. If Michelle doesn't know the answer, Dr. Patty or you. And so
I go to Jeanette. That's who I go to.
Jeanette's usually working on the computer when I go in, so I don't like to.
She stops for me. I come in, I start talking to her. So it's about the girls or whatever.
But no, that's true.
The one thing you'll find if you go to Dr. Sosa's office is that, it's Westchase Chiropractic, by the way, is that what he's saying here tonight about how God heals the body and about his relationship is evident in the office. And I think that makes for a great healing situation.
Yeah. Well, for them to pray over me, to literally, I think it was, I'm trying to think of, it was Michelle and yourself, and there was, it was, I think, those two who really kind of initiated it, and then everyone came over, literally laid hands on me and prayed. And I became a sobbing idiot at that time, which was great. I needed that. I needed that release because of the tension there. And that's very unusual. You don't see that. So the environment that you've produced there is a really good environment. The breathing exercises, I love that. Nutrition, we'll bring you in a different time for that and just kind of talk about nutrition because it's very important.
Yes.
Extremely important. And hey, eat more fat. And what else do you do for yourself? Do you have chiropractors work on you?
I do. So we're 3 chiropractors in the office, and we rotate. I actually get adjusted twice a week, one by Dr. Patty and then one by Dr. Tyler.
Okay.
So I say getting checked because I don't always need, but I have the advantage since they're both right there. I get adjusted. I get checked by each of them each week. So I may not need it, but at least I'm going to get checked. So that's just one thing. But getting back to what you guys in the past few years, and I'm going to have to say thank you to you guys, is getting closer to God has changed my practice too.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Hands
down, you can't. It's true what he says. Over the years, sometimes we get so into the business part that you forget who's really running the show.
Yeah, right.
And when the office gets more where God, it's centered, when God is at the center of everything we do, our office is doing better.
Yeah. And that's interesting. Bill Pinus, who we'll have here too with FinFit, said the exact same thing. When Jesus is at the center of this whole thing, then I basically am following his principles. And what you do on the physical end of it is you're following his principles. He's created this body. He says, this is what you need to do to get into a better place. Healing can take place through that. Right. You can keep yourself in a better environment. These are good things. And so what we want to do, because we're already running out of time, this is how quickly it goes. Okay. So like I said, we'll have you at different times. Come over here if you don't mind.
I'm at your service anytime you need it.
Awesome. So this is kind of the beginning of an idea for us is to get people in a better place. We're in a stress. Just go over some of the stresses in the world right now.
All you got to do is look at what's going on in Israel. Look at what's going on in Ukraine. Look at what's going on at the southern border. Look at what's going on with in Congress, with some of the bills that are being, and we're in an election year.
And people just seem to get worse.
And so it just gets worse.
Yeah.
And
just the environment in general.
The environment, the economy, the environment, everything is just, it's not good. And so it affects all of us in different ways. But stress is something that everybody finds something that they'll stress over. Right. I mean, just do, you know. Yeah. And in the next several months, it's going to get worse.
Right. And what we want to do is remind ourselves that Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God."
Right.
Right. So that idea of just slowing down, the breathing exercises is perfect for that, by the way, and praying, perfect for that. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to try to get different people in here, and we'll probably get you a few more times in here, just to talk about ways to slow down and not react poorly. And we're all married men, so we could talk about that at a different time too, about what we can do to make sure that we have our families, our lives, and not in a perfect place, because the only one that's perfect is Jesus, but in a good, healthy place, right? That's really what we're aiming at.
Yep.
So first of all, last thing here, guys, chiropractic work, you're going to need it, you know, especially during this year. So you're going to want to do that. And we'll get some nutrition and all that kind of stuff in.
Right.
And we have some other people even dealing with PTSD and some other issues that are going to come in here. So we want to make sure that you take these podcasts and use them in the way it's best for you. If you want to know where Dr. Sosa is, we're going to put all his information on all this stuff, right?
Right.
We're going to
put it
on there.
We'll put that. It'll
so
be
we'll
in
get
the
your
show
phone
notes.
numbers and addresses and all that stuff. If you need to talk with him and take this next step of maybe doing chiropractic work with you, but at least maybe doing some breathing exercises. Remember last Sunday, if you were here last Sunday, we did a breathing exercise.
Yes, we did.
I did one. You'd be proud of me. I just did a 5 seconds in, hold, and 5 seconds in, out 5 seconds, just to remind everybody who made that breath for you.
Right.
Who's created this body to even let you breathe and to slow down. And so that's what we need to do.
Yep.
So that's all we got for today, because we don't have time.
This has been David Towner with Dr. Michael Sosa at Westchase Chiropractic. I'm Sam McKeown. Live intentionally, be blessed. We'll see you on the next side.
See you later.
Thank you for listening to TIMFD. Today is my favorite day. Views, comments, and opinions are those of the host and guest alone, and Dave and Sam are solely responsible for the content of this podcast. TIMFD is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Music is composed and performed by Chuck Ball. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed.